Long and behold, we've always talked about trades with the Chicago Bulls, and we've even talked about trades with Ben Simmons. However, we haven't looked at the other side of Philadelphia, have we? We haven't looked at the other side of the coin, the other franchise player. We haven't really looked at Joel Embiid in this entire conversation. He's someone that is also up potentially for a trade. Now, will the Chicago Bulls look for Ben Simmons or for Joel Embiid? Or either? Let's see what I think right now. What's up, everybody? It's the Aidan Sports Show. Welcome back to another video. This is going to be a Chicago Bulls related video in terms of Joel Embiid. Now, I said in my last video at the very end that I would be talking about Joel Embiid in this video, and the reason why is there's still potential rumors about the Bulls acquiring Joel Embiid and 3 potential trades that we could do to get Joel Embiid to the Chicago Bulls. And I would like to know what you guys think about each single trade. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Aidan Sports Show YouTube channel, turn notifications on, and of course let me know in the comments below, would you take Joel Embiid for the Chicago Bulls? Now, before we get into the trades, answering that question I just asked you guys, would I take Joel Embiid as a Chicago Bull? The answer is mixed for me, very mixed, but ultimately, of course, I would take Joel Embiid as a Chicago Bull. I think most teams would take Joel Embiid overall for any team that they have. It's as simple as that. He's a world-class talent. He's arguably the best center when healthy in the NBA, and he deserves a lot of respect for the amount he's done in so little time in the NBA. Joel Embiid can shoot the ball, can drive the ball, can post up, can defend. He does it all as a center. I can't wait to see how he progresses in his career. If it's just with Philadelphia or not, it seems more likely that he's not going to be with Philadelphia for the future. He might be there next season, but maybe the season after that, it could be curtains for his career in Philadelphia. We've seen those tweets with Jimmy Butler and Joel Embiid, and how both of them have been talking about potentially linking up once again. If that's the case, Joel Embiid could well be on his way out into Miami, or maybe they go somewhere else, who knows. But let's look at some of the trades that the Chicago Bulls are interested in acquiring for Joel Embiid. So as far as I know, there are 3 trades that has been linked out to the media that the Chicago Bulls could potentially do to get Joel Embiid on side. And I want to know each of your opinions on the trades. Maybe pick your favorite trade, but if none of them appeal to you, I'd really like to know that as well, because there is something interesting I will have to say at the very end of the video. The first trade that was talked about in the media was a trade where the Philadelphia 76ers would give up, of course, Joel Embiid, but also Al Horford, and the Chicago Bulls would receive Larry Marketing, a potential first-round pick, which you'd arguably say is the 4th-round pick, Larry Marketing, and Zach LaVine. Now, beyond of all the trades that I'm about to say, this trade for me makes little to no sense whatsoever. First of all, you're going to get rid of a first-round pick. A lot of people don't want to get rid of that first-round pick, especially with Larry Marketing and Zach LaVine. A lot of people in the last comment section of the Ben Simmons video said they would not get rid of that first-round pick and Zach LaVine and Larry Marketing for Ben Simmons. So the same will probably go for Joel Embiid. They're not going to go and sacrifice a first-round pick, Zach LaVine, Larry Marketing, and Otto Porter. It's just not going to happen. Yes, we get rid of a big contract in Otto Porter, but we get one back with Al Horford. Now, what you guys think about Al Horford is completely up to you. Me personally, I think Al Horford is a great player. I think he's a very hard-working player, but I also think he's leaning towards the end of his career. He has a very big contract, and I don't see this being the absolute way at all the Chicago Bulls would go. I don't see us going after Al Horford and Joel Embiid. I just don't see that in my lifetime. I'm sorry. If you guys really rate Al Horford, thinks he'd be good for the Chicago Bulls, then maybe you would like this trade. But I think the Bulls are giving way too much in this trade. The other 2 trades, honestly, they're a lot more convincing than this one. But in the end, if this is a potential trade that's being put out there, what do you guys think? We'll go to the second trade right now. The second trade of this topic of Joel Embiid would be the 76ers giving up Joel Embiid alone, and the Chicago Bulls give up Larry Marketing, Wendell Carter Jr., and Thaddeus Young. Now, this trade for me is a little bit more enticing. Let me give you some reasons why. Larry Markkinen, I believe after this year, is potentially going to be looking for a big contract. And maybe the Chicago Bulls would end up trading Larry Markkinen just so they don't have to pay him. That's a big reason that I think Larry Markkinen has been in all these trade rumors from Ben Simmons to Joel Embiid. It just hasn't stopped with Larry Markkinen. Even though he looks happy, even though he thinks that he might sign a contract extension, even though arguably we did all this for him, there's still trade rumors going around because I don't know if the Bulls want to pay him a lot of money. But whatever it is, if the Bulls do pay him a lot of money, that's where I think we should go. But that could be a reason to trade him. Thaddeus Young has been talking about trade for a long, long time. A lot of people think Thaddeus Young would work better on another team. I don't think he likes being on the bench. I don't think he gets enough touches of the ball, and I don't think we play to his style. I don't like him being a corner three-point shooter, even though he's good at it. I don't like him handling the ball from half and dribbling. I like him in the post. I like him creating plays when there's not enough time on the clock. That's where I think Thaddeus Young is best at. And in the end, we don't play to his style. So that is potentially another reason that we could get rid of Thaddeus Young. So those are two players already that the Bulls might already be looking to get rid of in the future. Very, very unlikely we'll get rid of Larry Markkinen, by the way. Just giving my opinion there. That's extremely unlikely. We will not get rid of Larry Markkinen, in my opinion. But for Joel Embiid, anything could be possible. Next up, Wendell Carter. This is the big one for me because Wendell Carter and Joel Embiid are very similar but also completely different. What makes them very similar is their injury records. I don't think Joel Embiid has had a full season healthy. And I don't think Wendell Carter's had a full season healthy. In fact, I know Wendell Carter has not had a full season healthy. The difference is, obviously, Joel Embiid is a much better player. I think he suits the center position more. And Wendell Carter's more of a power forward. Now, if we're looking to move Wendell Carter to the power forward position, then we are ultimately, our centers would be Daniel Gafford and Joel Embiid, which I think a lot of people would take. To be honest, this trade to me does not feel as bad as the first trade. And would I do this? To be honest, if Larry Markkinen was not going to guarantee his full-time future with Chicago, I would do this trade. That's just my opinion. I would do this trade if Larry Markkinen will flat out say he's not re-signing in Chicago. And then we know what to do from there. But if Larry Markkinen is willing to put his future with the Chicago Bulls, then I see this trade not happening either. But keep your eyes on that one. If that is something that the Bulls could potentially go after, I don't see this being a terrible trade by any stretch of the means. But yeah, we're going to have to wait and see where that goes with that one. Third trade of this video about Joel Embiid is also a very, very interesting one, and I'd like to get your opinions on it. So, this trade involves Joel Embiid and Zhaire Smith. I'm sorry if I said that name completely wrong. And the Bulls would give up, Wendell Carter, Otto Porter Jr., and Kobe White. Let's see what you guys think about that. Now, of course, Joel Embiid and Wendell Carter, I've already really talked about it a lot. I would give up Otto Porter for Joel Embiid. There's no question about that. The real problem here is Kobe White. Do we give up Kobe White? Because honestly, we're going to have at least another 2-3 years with Kobe White under a rookie contract. Is he going to be worth getting rid of at this stage of his career? In my opinion, Kobe White should be off limits from all trades unless it's regarding his position. If we're going to trade a point guard for a center, no way. If we're trading a point guard for another point guard, if that point guard is an elite, young, talented point guard, then that's where you consider trading Kobe White. But for me, this is not a trade that I'd be interested in. I do not want to get rid of Kobe White under any circumstances. That's just the way that I see it. With Larry Markkinen, you can kind of see why the Chicago Bulls would be hesitating towards giving Larry Markkinen money and also Larry Markkinen wanting to stay here. You can kind of see there are small worries with the Chicago Bulls and Larry Markkinen. There's no worries with Kobe White at the moment. He is fine. He's only had his first year. He had a tremendous first year, and he could potentially grow. And that's a position that we need to have filled. We cannot get rid of Kobe White for Joel Embiid. It's a mismatch. It completely doesn't make sense. But we do keep the 4th pick, so we could potentially look for a point guard in the draft. What do you guys think about that? For me, the second trade out of all of those is the ones that I would go after if the Chicago Bulls really want Joel Embiid. But arguably, none of these trades would make me feel happy or sad, to be honest. But the second trade is a little bit more interesting. That's just the way that I see things. I'd like to get your guys' comments on that. The third trade, look, for many people, that would be an enticing trade because you're getting rid of Otto Porter's contract and you're replacing a center for a center. But Kobe White is the big issue there. I just don't see why we get rid of Kobe White at this stage of his career. I just don't. I really don't. And anyway, that's going to be the trades. Now, we could talk about strengths and weaknesses of Joel Embiid as well, which is something I also did with Ben Simmons. Joel Embiid is a high IQ player. He does turn the ball over a fair bit, so in the end, that could be from his size. He shoots the ball fairly well. He can dribble the ball. He can drive the ball. He can pass the ball. Ultimately, he is one of the most ideal centers to have in the NBA. He's not freakishly talented like a Nikola Jokic. He's not going to be a player that gets 10 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, and stuff like that. He's not really a specialist at anything, but he's really elite at everything. That's just the way that I see Joel Embiid. In the end, he would definitely make us better. He would probably make us a contender. But ultimately, the Chicago Bulls, in my opinion, I don't see going near this. And the reason why is, why would you pay someone that much money that he will get from us if he can't stay healthy? We already have this issue with a lot of our players. A lot of our players have health issues, cannot stay healthy for a full season, and we end up missing a lot of game time, and the starting 5 cannot gel together because of how much time they miss. We already have this issue. So trading Wendell Carter for Joel Embiid, although it might be a much better player that we're getting in return, the same issues will still arise with Joel Embiid. In my opinion, if we were ever going to trade for Joel Embiid, we need to wait and see how well he plays with a full season under his belt. People often compare Jason Tatum to Joel Embiid, and people say Jason Tatum is better because he's more available. That's the type of situation that Joel Embiid would put us in. We need to have him available to play majority of our games. We're not good enough of a team where we could see him miss games and we still make the playoffs. We're not that great of a team. So we're going to need him to play all of our games. And I just don't see the Chicago Bulls going through with this, by the way. But we're going to have to wait and see. So, in the end, I would take Joel Embiid at Chicago. I said this before. There are clear and obvious risks that everybody knows about with Joel Embiid. But with the trade packages that could potentially be available, this is not completely idiotic to think that we could go after him, especially if that's what it takes. Only the first trade, in my opinion, is something that we completely say no to. The second trade is very interesting. And the third trade, arguably, with Kobe White, I wouldn't do it either. None of them I would do. But in the end, if the trade is right, if the price is right, Joel Embiid would be a tremendous asset to the Chicago Bulls. I'm sure we'd all welcome him with open arms. But in the end, this just seems like another media story that's been talked about, and as well as I'm talking about, but that won't happen. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new to the Aidan Sports Show YouTube channel. How well did I do this time? I know the Ben Simmons one, there were a little bit of errors. Hopefully all of that gets sorted within this video. I'd like to know what you guys think. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you guys in another Chicago Bulls video. Very interesting ones coming up as well. Take care and peace.